Good afternoon and welcome to Radio Zindagi 96.7 FM, 5:40 AM and 13:10 AM. 3 p.m. and on a Tuesday and on a Wednesday afternoon, and on a Tuesday afternoon. I'm still a bit there. So yes, Tuesday afternoon 3 बजे से 4 बजे तक आपको पता है कौन सा वक्त होता है. This is the time when we have the show, the astrology show with Dr. Saket Bhatia. Now, let me tell you a little bit about Dr. Saket Bhatia. He is a board member of the International Association of Vedic Astrology and Numerology. And he has over 12,000 clients with over 25 years of experience in the field of astrology and numerology. Dr. Saket Bhatia is live with us every Tuesday, 3 p.m. to 4 p.m. And he's always here with us, educating us in the field, in the industry of astrology and numerology. And without wasting time, let's take him on air. Hi, Dr. Saket, how are you?
Very well, Huma. How are you doing?
I am doing fine. Thank you for asking. And Saket, first of all, thank you so much. Aap itna, you do that effort to educate the community with this in the field of astrology and numerology, and you give people a lot of knowledge. जो knowledge आपके पास है, आपने पिछले 25 सालों में gain की है. I love the fact that you educate people and you do that all in public interest. Now, let's talk about. We've already done an introduction to astrology. We've already done birth charts, और आज हम एक extension कर रहे हैं इस पर, right?
That's correct.
So
there's some feedback going on. I can hear an echo.
You can hear an echo. Is that from my end?
किसी का तो है. I don't know.
Maybe it's from the studio. Studio guys, can you mute yourself for when we talk? Okay.
No. We're going to continue discussing birth chart, right?
Right.
Remember, there are 3 types of astrology shows. One, जिसमें an astrologer will come and he can keep answering all the questions you have. That is not the purpose of this show. The second kind of astrology shows which an astrologer can come and keep talking about one topic at a time. Topic 1, topic 2, and so on. This is also not that show. This show is different. This show is a mixture of both of them. देखिए, the idea of this particular show is to educate you. I'm not trying to make you an astrologer. For that, you would have to go through a lot of education. But what I'm trying to do is explain to you the science, the principles, the fundamentals behind astrology. So you don't get scared when you go to an astrologer. You don't get worried. You have the confidence to know that, yes, your birth chart is strong. There are some weaknesses that you need to work on to improve. Those are things we need to explain. Like when you go to a doctor and he tells you, you have to do blood pressure checkup or you have pain in the stomach, you know what the symptoms are. And he's going to tell you that you have to do some tests or take medicine. Same way, I want you to understand, I'm doing it on a very surface level. I'm trying to talk about planets, birth charts, etc. So you understand the fundamentals of astrology. Because this is one thing which is practiced heavily, but still not understood by the general public. So that is the mission of this show,
Right. Okay. Right. So I love the fact that what Saket over here is doing is mainly introduction to people. And जैसे उन्होंने पिछले उनके 2 shows में कहा है, he's more of an eye opener कि ये सारी चीजें होती हैं. And I love the fact that he presents to us these 2 things as a science, right? तो वो जिस तरह से हम explain करते हैं, वो as a layman we understand that it's actually a science, और वो stars की placement alignment से लेना देना सारा चीज जो है, it's all scientific.
Yes. So without, just let's proceed further. I can discuss. We were discussing about birth chart last time, right? हमने कहा था कि birth chart होती है. This time around, we want to explain कि birth chart दिखती कैसी है. How does it look? How is it read? So there are 2 types of birth charts that are very common.
Saketji,
North
before you
Indian and the
start that,
South Indian
before
birth
you
chart.
start that, I want to tell people that right now we are live on Facebook. हम फेसबुक रेडियो जिंदगी के ट्राई स्टेट पेज पर भी लाइव है जहां पर आप हमें देख सकते हो यू कैन हैव यू नो इफ यू हैव एनी क्वेश्चंस you can ask Dr. Saket about anything in that chat in that window. Sorry Saket ji, back to you.
No, that's fine. So what I'm trying to say is the North Indian and South Indian birth charts, right? The
Mhm.
South Indian chart has squares in it, while the North Indian looks more like a bunch of diamonds in it. Both these
Right.
charts have their own meaning, they have their own purpose. The North Indian chart is more focused on signs, Aries, Taurus. The North Indian, on the other hand, is more focused on houses. So houses, aspects, so both are identical, just different representation. So जब birth chart होती है, the most important thing in the birth chart is the ascendant. Okay.
What does the
Ascendant क्या होता
ascendant
है?
mean?
Ascendant is your first house,
Okay.
the rising sign. So when you were born, the zodiac, everything is based on zodiac, right? Uh, when you were born, what was rising at the time of your birth? Was it Aries, Taurus, Gemini? These zodiacs, there are 12 zodiacs, and each zodiac rises every 2 hours. So आप जब पैदा हुए थे, what was the rising zodiac then? In my case, it was Scorpio. Now, if you look at my date of birth, which is December 13, I should be Sagittarius, but that is Western astrology. In Western astrology, everybody is grouped into Sagittarius. People are grouped into Scorpio. People are grouped into this, but that is not the case in Vedic astrology. Indian astrology में जिस zodiac sign जो rise करती है, that is what you identify as.
So
Right?
not the
So
ones that
ascendant
you're born with. जो rise करती हैं वो आपकी identity बन जाती है.
to a certain extent, yes. You must have heard many people जो कहते हैं कि I am a Libra, but I think my characteristics are that of Aries. Have you ever heard that? या कोई कहता है कि
I do hear that a
I am
lot.
maybe I am a Capricorn, but my characteristics are not Capricorn at all. I'm Pisces. Why? Because Vedic astrology में is more accurate. हर 2 घंटे में आपकी sign change होती है. Zodiac, right? So when you are born, the ascendant is critical. It is important.
Mm-hmm.
You've heard people say कि जो Aries होते हैं, they're like a bull, they're very head on strong, they don't want to change. But you can meet some Aries people who are different.
Right.
Because हम क्या कहते हैं astrology में, for you to be the ideal Aries, Aries is ruled by Mars. The aspect on the ascendant should be Mars or Jupiter, or the sign of ascendant lord should be between 0 and 3 degrees. अगर ये 3 criteria match हो जाए, you will be the perfect Aries. And quite frankly, it never matches. I have never seen a single chart out of 12,000 or 40,000 charts that match that. Right? So
Mm-hmm.
ascendant is most important. Why? Because ascendant देख के we can identify how much money you'll make, how healthy you'll be, how happy your married life will be, how many kids you'll have, what you will look like, your vision, your teeth, your bones, your hair, your career, everything is identified from the ascendant.
Wow, that is amazing. I actually didn't know that.
So everything is identified from the ascendant, and the remaining 11 houses will tell you how successful you will be in your career, how many kids you can have, how your married life will be. So the first house is the foundation, and the other houses are detailed interpretation of the first house based on the zone they target. Does that make sense?
Yes, it kind of makes sense. Yeah.
Many people will call me on the show and say, I want a job. The first
Hmm.
thing we should see is the first house. You'll do. Then we look at the 10th house to see when you will switch your career, how successful you will be in your career. If you want to study somebody's health, you first study first house. Then you study 6th house to see what disease they will have, if there is a cure for that disease. आप समझ रहे हो? These are things we have to study just in order to give you the right answer. And when callers are calling, उनको पता होना चाहिए कि हमें time जाता है to do this very fast in our head from experience so we can give you the right answer.
यस डेफिनेटली ये सारी चीजें एक्यूरेटली बताने के लिए एक्सपीरियंस चाहिए जो साकेत जी के पास है, 25 सालों का एक्सपीरियंस, पीएचडी इन एस्ट्रोलॉजी, न्यूमरोलॉजी में इन्होंने इतना स्टडी किया है। तो डेफिनेटली ये कोई चीज ऐसी नहीं है कि ओवरनाइट है। जैसे साकेत जी ने मेंशन किया था, आई एम नॉट ट्राइंग टू मेक यू एन एस्ट्रोलॉजर। वो क्योंकि ये चीजें जो है बहुत ही obviously seasoned, with that experience, it all comes to you. And Saket ji, just let me know whenever you're ready to take some phone calls, because मुझे पता है लोग बहुत ही उत्सुक होते हैं आपसे बातें करने, उनके पास हमेशा कुछ ना कुछ सवाल होते हैं, तो let me know whenever you're ready.
Yeah, just in a few minutes.
Okay.
So you ever wondered why the days of the weeks are named after planets? We have 7 days and we have
Uh-huh.
7 planets. Why are
Right.
the days of the weeks named after the planets? Why are they Ravivar, Somvar, Guruvar, Budvar, Shanivar? Why?
Actually कभी नहीं सोचा, आप बताएं।
It is
Enlighten us.
treated, it is because it is all tied to astrology. See, when we make your birth chart, we have to study your day of birth. We have to see the planet that rules your day of
हाँ.
birth and see if it is strong or weak in your chart.
Wow, that
Because
is
then it tends to impact you in one way or the other. आपने वो भी सुना होगा कि नक्षत्र होते हैं.
जी बिल्कुल सुना है, डेफिनेटली वो सब सुना है।
Nakshatras are where the moon is at the time of your birth, and that changes your personality. So a good chart with the right planet placement, but wrong placement in the nakshatra will create havoc. It will change your personality completely. Sometimes you have stubborn people. No matter what you tell them, they won't adapt. That is because the nakshatra placement is very different.
So that
Patience.
is also the
People lack
placement of the houses of nakshatra की जो लोगों का behavior भी dominate करते हैं।
everything to do with your mind. Personality is dominated by nakshatra. So with that, we can take calls whenever you're ready, and then we can
Okay.
start talking about different planets, houses, and what they
All right.
represent.
732-662-4701 is the number, स्टूडियो का नंबर 732-662-4701। याद रखें जब आप फोन कॉल करें साकेत जी को, so अपने रेडियो का वॉल्यूम एकदम लो रखना है, and be prepared that he is going to ask you for your date of birth, time of birth, place of birth, ताकि वो आपके बर्थ चार्ट में देख सकें और आपका जो भी रिलेटेड क्वेश्चन है उसका जवाब दे सकें। So yes, we will know whenever the phone calls start coming in. 732-662-4701 is the studio number. Alternatively, मुझे पता है कि काफी लोग आते हैं यहाँ पर जिनके बहुत ज्यादा मल्टीफोल्ड सवालात होते हैं, बहुत ज्यादा सवालात होते हैं, तो उसके लिए I highly recommend कि स्टूडियो के बाहर आप जो हैं वो कंसल्ट कर सकते हो साकेत जी को 408-639-5300 पर, that is 408-639-5300.
We'll just talk a little about planets.
Yes.
So planets जो होते हैं, in astrology we have many planets. We have 7 planets and we have 2 nodes. The
2
7
nodes
planets
आपने
are
कहा।
2 nodes, yes. The 2 nodes are called Rahu and Ketu. So people ask, Rahu Ketu होते क्या हैं?
Right.
What does it mean? So when you're born, well, actually if you look up, whenever you look up, moon rise hota hai and then the moon sets, right? Just like the
Yes.
sunrise, sunset. The point where the moon rises is called Rahu. The point where the moon sets is called Ketu. Easy.
Oh, that's simple.
As easy as that. Moon rise hota hai, it is Rahu. Moon set hota hai, it is Ketu. We hear many things about Rahu Ketu. People say, my Rahu Mahadasha starting, it's not going to be good. My Ketu Dasha starts, it's not going to be good. ऐसा तो कुछ है ही नहीं. That is all incorrect. In fact, majority people get married in Rahu Dasha. They have kids in Rahu Dasha. People that get stability in job happens in Ketu Dasha. It's just been given a bad name by some astrologers and some people who don't understand it completely.
So what you mean to say कि राहु और केतु से लोग जो इतना थोड़ा सा डरते हैं वो ना डरें?
Rahu creates an illusion. It's an unfulfilled desire. Astrology is all about karmic debts, right? Karma. And we
Uh-huh.
always say karma comes from retrograde planets on retrograde nodes. Rahu and Ketu are always retrograde. अगर आपका राहु चार्ट में ज्यादा स्ट्रांग है, you have an undesired, unfulfilled desire from your past life to get something. अगर वो सेकंड हाउस में चला गया, it could be money. अगर वो पांचवें घर में चला गया, it could be education or kids. अगर वो 12th हाउस में चला जाता है, it indicates you're going to move overseas, you're going to marry a partner from another community, you're going to grow your business overseas. It could also mean jail time for people who commit crimes. These are very important things. If you look at the charts of most successful celebrities, actors, actresses,
Uh-huh.
famous personalities, they all have Rahu in the first or 10th house, almost always.
Celebrities की जो placement होती है वो राहु 10th house में होता है. At this point, I really want to hand out the phone number for the studio line 732-662-4701. One more time, that is 732-662-4701. Dr. Saket Bhatia is here in the studios of Radio Zindagi और वो हमारे साथ अगले 30 odd minutes के लिए हैं, 30-40 minutes के लिए. तो कोई सवालात हो आपके पास, कोई questions हो जो आप उनसे करना चाहो, please feel free to call us 732-662-4701.
Rahu Ketu, your understanding. Rahu's job is to expand. Jahan baithta hai, he expands. Ketu's job is not to contract, but to give you a comfort zone. So you don't work on that too much. We've seen agar Ketu 6th house mein baith jaye, those kind of people tend to work harder than other individuals and don't like to delegate. So you must have encountered, aap kaam karte ho, radio studio mein. There must be some individuals there who like to do everything themselves. Perfectionist hote hain. Typically Ketu in 6th house.
Let's take the caller on air.
Sure.
Hi, you're on air. साकिब जी, आप कॉलर से डायरेक्ट बात करना पड़ेगा आपको.
I can speak to them.
Yes, you got to speak to them directly.
Please go ahead.
What's your brother's name? Go a little slow on the date of birth because kuch feedback jada hai. I'm not able to hear clearly. Yes. 10th July 1979. Time of birth? Place of birth? And what is your question? तो देखिए आपके जो brother की chart है, if you can hear me clearly, he is in Vedic astrology, he's a Capricorn ascendant. Actually, I'm just having such a hard time feedback. इतना ज़्यादा I don't know what's going on.
आपको कॉलर की आवाज नहीं आ रही है? You can hear the caller, right, Saket?
नहीं आ रही है, but I'm hearing my own echo after like 5 seconds. I'm trying to answer my best. If she can hear me, that's good. At this point of time, if we have to study marriage, we'll only study the 7th house, which is house of marriage, partnership, planets that are sitting in that. My suggestion is just looking at the placement of the planets. A good time starts after August 5th, 2024. August 5th, 2024 said the time starts, and that ends actually in May of 2027. For sure, you should be married in that time. No second thoughts.
Okay, so you had a phone call जहाँ पर लोग somebody was inquiring about their brother, right? और आपने उन्हें right time बताया है. So again, अगर if आपने कोई question करना है 7326624701 is the number. Studio में alternatively हम Facebook रेडियो जिंदगी के ट्राई स्टेट पेज पर Facebook पर हम live हैं. तो वहाँ पर भी आप you can write your questions in the comment section with the date of birth and जो भी question है, Saket will be able to answer that for you. Saket जी, आज हम बात कर रहे थे birth charts की, right? Or you were enlightening people about this and the placement of nakshatra. So we can still wait for the phone calls, but अगर आप कुछ और update.
Planets में देखिए, there are, like I said, there are 7 planets and 2 nodes. I already spoke about Rahu Ketu. Now we'll talk about the other planets. So Sun, Jupiter, Mars. Ye 3 planets are considered masculine planets. Venus and Moon are considered feminine planets. Mercury and Saturn, they're considered gender neutral. So depending on where they're placed, how they're placed, they could either be masculine or feminine. इसकी importance बहुत होती है, because each of the signs is considered either fire, earth, air, or water. If Sun
five
is
elements.
placed in fire sign, like Aries, it becomes stronger. Fire, earth, air, water, and ether, correct. If Sun is placed in a watery element, such as Scorpio, it becomes a little weak. I'm not saying it becomes weak, it becomes a little weak. That means the individual has to work a little harder to make successful life based on the placement of that planet. हम बार बार यही कहूँगा, astrology never denies anything. It gives you what you want. You either have to work a little harder than most people, or you will get it when the time is right. So planets like Sun, Jupiter, Mars, and Moon, they're considered friends of each other. ये जब planets साथ में बैठते हैं या एक दूसरे को aspect करते हैं, they only get stronger. Planets like Venus, Mercury, and Saturn are also in a separate group, and they are getting stronger when they sit with each other or they look at each other. When there is opposition, which means Sun sitting with Mercury or Jupiter sitting with Saturn or Mars sitting with Mercury, then that causes friction in the chart. Think about it. It makes sense. Mars is planet of aggression.
Let's say अगर ऐसे कोई friction हो जाता है,
and you have aggression sitting with business.
Yes, sorry.
Yes.
You were talking about ये जो mix-up अगर हो जाता है, अगर ये हो जाता है तो लोगों के पास जो friction हो जाता है, तो are there remedies for it?
You can't move the planets. We cannot move the planets, right? We have to see कि जो friction है, what planet is causing that, and hopefully there is another planet out there which can aspect it. Aspect means look at it. Drishti hoti hai. Just like you're looking at the camera right now in front of you, planets also look straight. If there is a friendly planet that can look straight at it, we can try making that planet stronger. If there is a bad planet looking at it, we can make it weaker. I'll give you an example. Shani se sab darte hain. Everybody says Saturn is a dangerous planet. But Saturn is the planet that gives you stability in your life. Saturn is the planet that gives you property in your life. Okay. So if Saturn, agar Venus aapka, for example, if Venus is sitting with Moon, then you always want luxuries in your life. You're not going to think straight. You want to spend on luxuries and finer things in life. Now, if Saturn is looking at that, he is going to help increase your luxuries, but he's going to cause mental stress. So in that case, we want to make sure we weaken your Saturn and increase your Jupiter. Because Jupiter can boost Moon, Mars can boost Moon. So there are different things we have to do. If we make a planet too strong, uske side effects bhi ho sakte hain.
हाँ,
If we make a planet too weak, then uske side effects hote hain. So it's like a very careful analysis that needs to be done in order to make sure that everything is done right for you. And that comes with time. It takes experience and lots of patience, for us as
right,
astrologers to figure out what needs to be done.
right. Like they always say, overabundance किसी चीज का भी अच्छा नहीं होता. So that actually makes sense over here. Now, अगर आपने अभी अभी ट्यून इन किया है, थोड़ा सा मैं आपको बता दूं थोड़ी सी information. This is the astrology show with Dr. Saket Bhatia, who's a member of the IVAN, which is the International Association of Vedic Astrology and Numerology, with over 25 years of experience and 12,000 clients. He's a PhD in astrology, and he also has studied numerology. Now, studio में अगर आपने contact करना है तो 732-662-4701 is the number. 732-662-4701. Alternatively, बहुत से सवाल हैं आपके पास, बहुत सारी चीजें आप जानना चाहते हो तो डेफिनेटली एक प्राइवेट अपॉइंटमेंट आप स्केड्यूल कर सकते हैं डॉक्टर साकेत भाटिया के साथ. 408-639-5300 पे 408-639-5300. करंटली फेसबुक पर भी रेडियो जिंदगी के ट्राई स्टेट पेज से हम लाइव है. कोई सवाल आपको वहां पर भी हैं तो आप कमेंट्स में कर सकते हैं. डॉक्टर साकेत भाटिया will address those.
Yeah. So let's talk about the planets, right? We were talking about good planets and not so good planets. हर एक चार्ट अलग होती है और हर एक चार्ट में the planet can be good or bad.
हाँ.
Jupiter is considered the most benefic. Benefic means, this is a very common word used in astrology. Benefic, malefic. Benefic means a very good resulting planet, जो आपको भला करता है. Malefic is a planet which will cause some damage. Now, Jupiter is by far the most benefic planet, followed by Venus, followed by waxing moon. Waxing moon means जो planet, जो moon sun से, when it's going away from the sun, it's considered waxing. When it's coming towards the sun, it's considered waning. These are the only benefic planets we have. And Mercury is in between. Is considered to be neutral. Negative planets में होते हैं Saturn and Sun. Sun is mildly malefic. Saturn is a malefic planet. हमने देखा है
इनका
astrology
हिंदी में
when
क्या नाम है? सैटर्न का तो आपने शनि बता दिया. सन का जो
sun
होता
का
है
होता है Ravi.
रवि.
Sun is called Ravi. Moon is Chandrama, we know that. Jupiter is Brahaspati. Mars is Mangal. Venus is Shukar. And Mercury is Budh. These are the names of the planets in Hindi.
Okay.
That's why you have Budhwar, Mangalwar, Shanivar. Now,
Shanivar, Ravivar, yeah.
Now, ये जो planets होते हैं, they own houses. For example, Mars owns Aries, Mars owns Scorpio. Jupiter owns Sagittarius, Jupiter owns Pisces. Right. Saturn owns Capricorn and Aquarius. Moon owns only one house, one sign, which is Cancer. Sun owns only one sign, which is Leo. And Mercury owns Virgo and Pisces. Sorry, Virgo and Gemini.
Okay.
This is important because in order to study astrology, you have to first make a chart. Then planets are placed in certain houses. Based on the placement of the chart, that particular planet will take the qualities of the houses it owns, put it in its own self, and exhibit it jahan wo baitha hai. I know this is confusing, but I'll give you a clear-cut good example.
Yeah.
Okay. Assume you're a Gemini ascendant. Gemini ascendant ke liye, Mercury will own the first house, which is you, and your property, and your mother. It will own those two. In this case, Jupiter will own the 7th house and 10th house, married life, business partnership, and career. Now, assume Jupiter is placed in the 12th house. Jupiter is a planet of wisdom, luck, grace. वो चला गया 12वें घर में. 12वां घर is house of international travel, overseas. Now he's taken the qualities of both the 7th house and the 10th house, put it in the 12th house, which means you can be doing business partnership with your wife or a partner as your main career in a foreign country. Does that make sense?
Yeah, makes sense. Yes.
Same way, Mercury in that chart owns you and owns your house. अगर वो मर्करी जो है वो लेट्स से 5th हाउस में आ गया, then you can clearly say that you and your property will be formed by giving 5th house, which is advice to people or stock market. So these are very important things you need to study in astrology. You should know the basics. अब हमने कह तो दिया कि you will start a business with your wife or your partner and it will be overseas. But at the same
Right.
time, we have to know कि हम जो overseas कर रहे हैं, ये how successful will it be?
Beneficial
That
हो
will
or नहीं.
depend on what we,
Hmm.
that will depend on how strong Jupiter is and what planets are looking at the 12th house. So it's बहुत time जाता है. When people call on the show and say, will I get a job or when will I get married? We consider those easy questions. But if they ask a question, when will I get married? How will my partner be? And how will my married life be? Then we have to look into more detail, and that can take several minutes to answer.
Okay. Okay. So जब खुद के लिए होते हैं तो it's easier for you to.
Yeah. If
Okay.
somebody is a Taurus ascendant,
Mm-hmm.
he's ruled by Venus. For him, Jupiter happens to own two negative houses, the 8th house and the 11th house. 8th is the house of losing your luck. 11th is the house of gains, but these are gains that don't last very long in life. आते हैं जाते हैं. So now
Uh-huh.
Jupiter becomes a planet owning two bad houses. अगर Jupiter गलत घर में बैठ गया, like 6th, and is very strong, we can say this person will suffer from liver problems. So
Mm-hmm.
even a good planet like Jupiter can give you issues with your liver.
Okay. So ये सारी चीजें health को भी definitely control करती हैं. बहुत से लोग ये बात जानते हैं. By the way, at this point, I'd like to hand out the studio number 732-662-4701. 732-662-4701. अगर आप फोन करना चाहते हैं, Dr. Saket Bhatia is available for the next 10-15 minutes to take phone calls. All you need to do is give your date of birth, time of birth, place of birth, and the question that you need to ask Dr. Bhatia.
तो ये तो कह दिया हमने कि what planet's role is and what a planet does. But the question is, are these planets always active in your chart? Right? And the answer is
Right.
yes and no.
Mm-hmm.
जो planet positions हैं, they will define you as an individual, so they are always active. But the planet itself will only get active during its dasha. जैसे आप सुबह उठते हो and you go to sleep at night,
Mm-hmm.
same way a planet wakes up during its dasha and then goes to sleep. जब planet उठता है अपनी दशा में, he first checks कि अंतर्दशा किसकी चल रही है. अंतर्दशा is a subdasha. You may have heard sometimes साढ़ सती होती है लोगों की, right? साढ़े सती.
Right.
The Saturn moon transit time. Think of that as a dasha of moon with an antardasha of Saturn. Just as an
Mm-hmm.
example, although it's not right, but I'm giving you one. In this particular dasha, you'll have stress. So dasha mein, it is always the antardasha planet that will shape the dasha of the main planet.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we've heard कि लोगों का गज केसरी योग होता है, which is a Jupiter moon time. लेकिन जब गज केसरी योग की दशा आती है, it almost never does good to anybody. Never. Those are the time you have to work harder and plant the seeds to come up in life.
Why is that
That
so?
Why is that so? Because most of Jupiter moon are friends. They help each other.
Uh-huh.
But astrology is not just about success. Astrology is also about shaping you, shaping your spirit, shaping your mind, shaping your body.
Oh, okay.
हम जो देख रहे हैं astrology वो नहीं देख रहा. Astrology is not only about I want to be successful, I want to get married. Astrology is more about I want to be more spiritual. That's what astrology is all about. How do you get the path to spirituality?
Wow, that's
Okay.
amazing actually. So it kind of enhances your the person inside you too.
Correct. It does. So now coming back to this, ये दशा होती है, अंतर्दशा होती है. During a dasha, the planet will give the results of the house it owns, the results of the house it sits in. I give a very classic example of Margaret Thatcher. I don't know if it was on this show or some other show, where Margaret Thatcher, she was running through Shani Dasha, Saturn Dasha. In her chart, Saturn owned the 4th house and the fifth house. Fourth house is the house of property, married life. Fifth
हाँ
house is the house of politics, advice you give others. Saturn ki dasha mein, and since Saturn was exalted in her chart, which means very, very strong, it did good for both. But planet will always give double results to one of the houses and half the result to the other house. ये एक और rule है astrology का. Jupiter will always give double results for Sagittarius and half for Pisces. Venus will always give half results for Taurus and double results for Libra. These are rules which astrologers don't follow. उन्हें पता ही नहीं है rules का. So in Margaret Thatcher's case, जब शनि की दशा आई, it gave half the result to a married life. Married life was perfect, but
हाँ
double the results were given to political life. She became prime minister. She became a symbol of the country. She was known internationally because of that.
right.
Shani dasha does that to people.
So आपने कहा बहुत से लोग astrologers ये overlook करते हैं, right?
Yes.
तो me as a like you know मैं एक जिसे ज्यादा information जानकारी नहीं है और मैं किसी को let's say I'm not consulting an expert like you, किसी और के पास मैं जाती हूँ तो मुझे I mean how is it going to harm me अगर लोग जो है ये overlook कर देते हैं ये बात.
It's like you go to a doctor who tells you we'll do a bunch of tests, but he doesn't check your blood pressure. He doesn't check your pulse rate. It doesn't harm you, but it may not benefit you.
Okay,
I'm not
so
trying
it's
to
not
say the
going
astrologer
to
is giving,
right.
no, he's not giving you wrong advice, but he's not giving you the advice that is critical and important for you as an individual. The information you need, वो नहीं मिल रही आपको.
So that is just like
When you go to
overlooking. Yeah, it's not gonna kill you, but it might harm you.
I'm not even sure if it's going to harm you. It might not do you any good. That's what I'm
Okay,
trying to
not
say.
benefit you at all.
Yeah. When you go to school, you get a degree, you study, and after that, what happens? You start working in the industry, and you suddenly realize that there are so many things in life जो मुझे आते ही नहीं. That comes with experience, right?
Yes, it does come with experience, right?
The same way, astrology is all about experience. You need somebody who has the experience. हम charts देख के कह सकते हैं कि this is what is happening or this is what will happen. And one of the reasons people like coming to me is because I tell you things the way they are, the way they should be, not what you want to hear. If there is a problem, I will tell you. If there is a weakness, I will tell you. And quite frankly, looking at charts, हमें पता भी चल जाता है कि the individual is going to listen to us or not.
Oh wow, that is that is pretty काफी amazing है क्योंकि आप देख भी सकते हो कि ये बंदा आपकी advice लेंगे या नहीं लेंगे.
There are many people who are stubborn. They don't want to listen. And that's okay. We can't change that. We're not here to change you. We just want to make sure कि आपकी जो life है थोड़ी smooth जाए. You have less stress, you have more success, you have better improvements because life is all about being happy. Life is about having less stress. देखिए पैसे सब कुछ नहीं होते.
Exactly.
Money is not everything in life. The most important thing is peace of mind. And उससे भी ज़्यादा important है health, which almost everybody overdoes. You fall sick for even 5 minutes, you can't work. 2 दिन आप बीमार रहो बेड पे, you can't do anything. That is what people need to ask. अभी हमें लोग questions पूछते हैं with no offense. I understand we have less time, but the nice lady जिन्होंने हमें call किया, she said, when will my brother get married? Very valid question. But if we were to talk in, if she books an appointment, that would be a wrong question. The question should be, how will the marriage work? What kind of changes should he make or she make so they are more compatible with each other? ऐसे questions पूछने चाहिए आपको.
Can she also ask कि कि शादी कैसे होगी यानी क्या रेमेडी की जाए तो they inch towards शादी ये भी पूछ सकते हैं. Would that be a right question?
It would be there is no wrong question in astrology. Astrology is all about, मैंने last show में कहा था, expectation, right, which is on one side, and acceptance जो आपको मिलता है. You need to balance these two things in life. ये दोनों balance करोगे आपकी life बहुत अच्छी जाएगी.
Okay, so it's a combination.
Many people have come to me. Yeah, it's a combination. If you want a detailed, accurate analysis, you must study the person's chart from the ascendant, the sun and the moon. इन तीनों से पढ़ना चाहिए, because तीनों से ही पढ़ के हम कह सकते हैं how good it's going to be. There is something called correlation in a chart. अगर हम ascendant से पढ़ें and then we study from the sun and moon and we're getting the same, yes, we can say you are going to do phenomenally well. You will be
Uh-huh.
starting a business, or you might get a disease, you might fall sick. Why? Because sun represents your soul, moon represents your mind, ascendant represents you. When these three pieces are put together, they make you the individual who you are. Okay.
A mixture of all
बहुत
these
लोग आते हैं
things.
मेरे, yes, many people come to me and say, uh, thousands have come to me, thousands of people asking me similar questions. One, will I get asylum? When will I get married? How
Huh.
will my health be? My business, my career, etc. And I tell people, business, you got to wait for another 4 years. You want your asylum? अब नहीं हो सकता. You're going to have to wait 2 years. शादी का योग नहीं बन रहा, time नहीं है, you should wait. Then people ask me the next questions. How do I make it turn faster? I
Huh.
don't want to wait 3 years. People don't have patience. They want instant results. And the answer is simple. An astrologer cannot change your time. Nobody can change your time. Only God can change your time. Nobody else can change your time at all. आपकी destiny लिखी हुई है. We can tell you what will happen, when it will happen, how it will happen, so you can at least prepare for it. But time कोई भी नहीं change कर सकता. Beware of an astrologer जो कहता है हम आपकी time ही change कर देंगे.
So that's a
Right?
hoax. अगर कोई कहता है आपसे कि they're able to change your time.
One of the things we want to do in this show over time is myth busting. We're going to
Huh.
talk about myths in astrology and
Right.
how individuals fall for those myths for the benefit of astrologers sometimes. And then we're going to discuss those things.
Yes, we
Astrology
definitely
में क्या
should.
होता है? You can tell me that I'm not happy with my job, and I'll tell you, keep working on it, because this is what is going to help you start your next business, your next career. Correct? I had a couple that did not have kids for 5.5 years.
Huh.
They came and they told me, "Hamara bacha ho hi nahi raha, we are sad." I said, "Don't worry, you have Saturn retrograde sitting in the ninth house. You will have unlimited fortune, unlimited success, unlimited fame, and you'll have a healthy, happy family. But you have to wait 7 years. It is a rule.
Huh.
Astrology is rules. 7 years, 3 months later, they had a baby boy. Good. So
Wow.
these are things we tell you. We give you hope. We give you a reason to live and reason to look forward to the future. That's what an astrologer's job is. Astrologer is like your personal GPS. He will tell you the roadmap
that.
you
I like the context that you gave. It's really a very good comparison. क्योंकि GPS के बिना हम सब lost है.
Right. So astrologer आपको बताएगा कि आपकी roadmap कहाँ है and why you're doing what you're doing, if it is beneficial for you or not beneficial for you. He will tell you कि जो path है इसमें कितने delays आएंगे. देखो, life easy नहीं है. It has not been easy for me. It is not easy for you. It is not easy for the thousands of listeners on the show. Right? It's difficult. It's a challenge. But that's what makes life worth it. अगर सबकी life easy होती तो हम और stress में चले जाते कि हमारी life easy है, उसकी भी easy है. Why is he doing better than us?
Right.
Focus on yourself. You are capable. You are intelligent. You are experienced. But yet, it takes time to get to your goals. And हमने पहले कहा that is because it all depends on the dasha you're running. अगर आपका time दशा गलत है, आप कुछ भी कर लो, you cannot achieve what you want to achieve in life. Go to an astrologer, and if he tells you कि आपकी दशा ठीक है, I would say double the amount of effort that you're putting, because the results will be double for you. जितना हो सकता है अच्छी दशा में काम करो और बुरी दशा में try to stabilize and be happy for what you have and just keep working the way you are. It's like a conserve your energy kind of approach, right? That's what it is.
Okay, so that is something जो हम day to day पर भी practice कर सकते हैं, right?
Yes.
So just a heads heads up, Dr. Bhatia, we've got about 10 more minutes, or agar, if you want to start wrapping up, जो भी आप जिस टॉपिक के बारे में बात कर रहे थे, जिस चीज के बारे में बात कर रहे थे, this is how when we start. Again, अगर आपने फोन करना है 732-662-4701, 732-662-4701, that is where Dr. Bhatia is available in the studio today. Whereas alternatively, you can always contact him for a private consultation of 408-639-5300. That is 408-639-5300.
Oh, we have a caller.
Okay.
Huma can't hear. I can take the call. Yeah, I can hear you. सिर्फ अपना name, date, place or time बता दो, because there's so much feedback from somebody. I'm having a very hard time even hearing you. Yeah, आप सिर्फ अपना slowly date, place, time बता दो और नाम बता दो, and I'll figure out the rest. Can you repeat the day again? And what is your question? Sorry, I cannot even understand. किसी का तो feedback इतना ज़्यादा है that it's becoming impossible. I looked at your chart. You're in Vedic astrology, your Aquarius ascendant. When you're saying finances, are you talking of stock market? Are you talking about work gain? Are you talking about gains, or all of the above? Okay. That's what I didn't get right. Okay, now we have it. So आपका question था finances, right? I'm looking at your chart right now. Saturn is a very good planet in your chart. Planet of stability. For this chart, it happens to be very well placed also. There is no issue with Saturn. Mool Trikon mein baitha hai. Right now, you're at running Jupiter Rahu Dasha. So there's some financial setback. I expect things to get significantly better starting 17th April 2024. That's when your Dasha changes. You're running a Jupiter Rahu Dasha. You'll suddenly jump into a Saturn Dasha. Saturn is first going to give you results of the 5th house. Then it's going to results of the 6th house. The 5th house is going to be very beneficial for you. Ye Dasha bahut lambi chalegi aapki. Saturn Dasha is going to last almost 20 years, 19 years. And 19 years, the first 9 years are going to be beneficial to you for the 5th house. If you have any stocks, investment property, that's going to do very well for you. Okay, I wouldn't worry. The Jupiter Dasha is essentially over. Just wait for another few months and you should be fine. Like I was telling on the call, you have to call for that. We'll have to discuss that. I want to make sure there is no adverse effect. Up phone karo, we can always talk. Okay? Yeah.
All right, so just about 5 more minutes, Dr. Saket Bhatia's Astrology Show. अगर आप हमें ऐप पर सुन रहे हो, फेसबुक लाइव पर सुन रहे हो, आपको मैं डॉक्टर साकित भाटिया का प्राइवेट कॉन्टैक्ट नंबर देना चाहती हूँ, so that you can schedule a consultation with him, which is 408-639-5300, 408-639-5300. Dr. Saket Bhatia has 25 years, over 25 years of experience with more than 12,000 clients जिन्होंने कंसल्ट किया है आज तक डॉक्टर भाटिया के साथ. और स्टूडियो में वो ट्यूसडे की रोज 3 बजे से 4 बजे तक यहाँ पर होते हैं हमारे साथ to answer your questions. But again, 408-639-5300 is the number for private consultation. And just 5 more minutes or 4 more minutes, Saket ji, to wrap up the show.
Right. So let's assume somebody comes and says, I don't have my exact time of birth. Then we call this a process called birth time rectification. Isme we ask you a bunch of questions. Some are personal. Are you married? What kind of career you have? What type of life you have? Any health issues you have? We look at you, what you look like, your skin tone, your height, your weight. And like I said last time also, we can come within 10 minutes of your date of birth and time of birth fairly accurately. So if somebody doesn't have it, they can always call. We can try helping them. One thing I want to tell you about astrology is astrology has 20 divisional charts. So if you come back and say, how are my kids going to be? We will look at the first ascendant, then we will look at the 5th house. And after the 5th house, we're going to look at a divisional chart which is related to kids, right? So all of these become important. If you want career, we have to look at your ascendant, your 10th house, and the D10th chart. The D10 chart is very important. It's called the Shamsha chart. Usse pata chalega ki how good your career is going to be, how successful you will be, right? Now, we barely have 2 minutes. What I want to do is a closing thought. I want to say something I like to close so people can at least reflect on what I'm trying to say. Yes, astrology is a science. Yes, your destiny is written. Yes, everything is written for you in life. But you as an individual are more than the sum of your planets in your birth chart. You are way above that as an individual. Why? Because you have free will. You have the ability to choose. You have the ability to make decisions. And yes, you can make changes to what is coming to life in your way. If an astrologer, a good astrologer tells you, stop drinking, you're going to have issues, you must cut it down. If he tells you you're going to have arthritis, you can at least start exercising. So these are things that only you as an individual can do. You can make changes to improve your life. Also, stop accepting things the way they are in life. You must always seek for better things in life. Life is not about sitting and saying, okay, chal raha hai, chalne do. This is called laziness. Step up, change your life today. The purpose of life is to motivate yourself and motivate others. You get up in the morning for certain reasons. Same way, purpose on life's decisions, influencing behavior, shaping goals, getting sense of direction, creating meaning, and so on is what life is about. Get up, make changes, and start enjoying your life in a better way is what I want to tell listeners.
Definitely, that is very motivating, and ये बहुत जरूरी है जैसे आपने कहा कि we got to start changing our lives ourselves. And on that note, आज का शो हम फिनिश करना चाहेंगे, लेकिन one more time I would like to hand out Dr. Saket Bhatia's private number. अगर आपने उन्हें consult करना है privately, please feel free to call for a private consultation 408-639-5300. That is 408-639-5300. Always a pleasure speaking to you, Dr. Bhatia. And thank you so much for your time and all that information.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Bye.
Bye-bye.